episode 227, How AI is being used in weather forecasting.
The primitive forms of artificial intelligence we already have proved very useful.
AI is a golden opportunity.
How do we ensure that this technology is regulated?
The long arc of technological history is now in an extraordinary new phase.
The AI6 podcast with Joanne Sweeney.
Well, today's long listen goes a little bit deeper into a previous shorter episode on AI6 on AIMSIR, Met Éireann's new AI-powered weather forecasting initiative. So in this episode, I'm sharing an interview that I did with Good Morning Dublin on Dublin City FM.
We're talking about the most recent announcements, let's say, about Met Éireann and UCD launching an AI centre to strengthen Ireland's preparation regards to weather changes and forecasting. I suppose I'm going to hand the reins over to you. Do you want to inform us about the story for anybody or any listeners who maybe hasn't heard it?
It's a great example of the power of AI and how we can use it for good. So as you and I know, Irish people love talking about the weather. So I think this story got a lot of chat and conversation.
For sure.
The new centre is called AIMSIR, and AIMSIR is the Irish word for weather. It also stands for the AI Meteorological Services Innovation and Research Centre based out of UCD. And if you think about it, Met Éireann has been collecting, forecasting and weather data for 100 years. And as we've spoken about on this show many times, the fuel that powers AI is data. So Met Éireann are just rightly placed to leverage the power of AI using the data that they have to better inform forecasting, which is predicting the weather, but also changes in climate and trying to mitigate climate change. So I think it's a great news story.
Absolutely. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that then? Met Éireann have this massive vault of data spanning 100 years in regards to Irish weather. How are they going to incorporate this to kind of train this AI, and what do we know about that process so far?
So what they will do is they'll extract all of that data and use it to train an AI model that is customized to focus specifically on Irish weather. And of course, they've got access to weather buoys along the coast. They've got access to all of the historical data, the storm that we've had, increase in temperature that we've had. And what that's going to do is the AI, using a subset of AI, machine learning, is going to identify trends. And because the expansiveness of the data, it wouldn't be possible for humans to piece all that together in a time period that probably is affordable or that really is practical. It's really good for us as citizens, but also if you think about farmers who care about the weather, frontline services, governments, policymakers who need to prepare in the event that our climate is changing.
It's very interesting. I know it's ironic. Last week we were talking about Albania and this kind of government minister. This isn't, no, we're not going to be seeing AI weather people anytime soon, but this is an AI assistant aiding Met Éireann's already in place systems for detecting the weather.
Absolutely. I think it's very exciting as to what they're going to uncover. And if you think about it, we're living in a reality where we don't know what we don't know. Very often when it comes to climate change, there's a lot of, global organizations working, but this is going to help unpack the Irish situation. And of course, they'll feed into European organizations too, like the European Centre for Medium Range Weather and the European Space Agency. So there'll be a lot of international collaboration as well.
I was reading there myself just before we came on air here, but there's 100 years worth of data, and obviously they'll be using this in conjunction with current satellite and senator data. But a part of it that I found interesting as well is how they're going to implement to help predicting and preventing these kind of weather events like flooding, storms, helping us prepare for that. How will AI improve the forecasting and early warnings in regards to these kind of weather incidents?
Well, a real practical example is rising sea levels. And if you think about people who live around the coast, and much of our population lives 20, 25 kilometres from a coastline, you can then be advising county councils, local government and related agencies about how they need to prepare rising sea levels for warming seas. And then they need to be putting the infrastructure in So you're mitigating risk as opposed to being reactive every time there's a major storm. And of course, we had a major one earlier this year, one of the strongest we've seen in quite a long time.
Yeah.
So there's so many tangible benefits, and I just think it's a brilliant news story. And can I also say, whoever came up with the name, I think they deserve a pay rise because it's genius. Not only the Irish word for AIMSIR, but it's an acronym too.
It is brilliant, isn't it? It's very, very clever. Whoever definitely deserves a raise. Absolutely. Tell me a bit, Joanne. We always talk about bias in regards to training AI. How has this been addressed in regards to Met Éireann? And also UCD. We need to not forget UCD's role in this, in training this new AI.
This is where I think the expertise of the people that work in Met Éireann and work at UCD are critical to developing this model without bias, because we always talk about human in the loop and the discernment and the expertise and the experience that these scientists and researchers and meteorologists are going to bring to the table. You cannot have AI operating on its own, because we know it hallucinates, it makes things up, it might misinterpret data. And the other thing is, context is really important. We're an island nation. We have islands off the main island, and we have particular weather events because of our location. Now, I'm not a scientist or a meteorologist, but these people will understand the context. And so it's absolutely vital that it's been driven by the experts, but supported by the technology.
And as well, like, we go back to the point, over 100 years of data is going to be feeding this AI and helping it kind of help predict weather patterns in the future. But also a big factor in that is obviously the more recent kind of changes in climate that we're seeing. Like, Ireland has been getting hotter these last few summers, the winters have been getting colder. So whether that data will kind of skewer the results in some way.
I suspect we're going to be getting a lot more data to that effect to answer those questions you just posed, because more often than not have the staff from Met Éireann that we see, telling us what the weather is going to be tomorrow, but doing interviews on mainstream news. Well, why are we having this increase in temperature, colder winters and fiercer storms? And I think they're going to be able to answer those questions with much more detail because of the data. And I think we'll be glued to it, And, the way we always start a conversation with, great day today, or how's the weather where you are? I mean, imagine the richness of the conversations when we get all the data from AIMSIR.
Yeah, we won't even have to ask. We'll just know, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Well, there'll probably be an app that we all can download, right?
What do you think the immediate effect is of incorporating this AI into Met Éireann's weather prediction systems in like the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, I think they might be able to have longer forecasting. Now, I'm a farmer's daughter, and my obviously is just committed to the weather because he needs to know, will he have enough fodder at the end of the winter or the end of the autumn for the winter season for his animals? Does he need to take them out in terms of their land, their feed, and their infrastructure as well? So it's really exciting. And I think once they start having that intelligence and sharing it publicly, which they will, see real tangible benefits.
Absolutely. And just for any of the listeners out there, do you know when they've announced the launch of this, or when we're going to be seeing this incorporated into Met Éireann's system at the moment?
I mean, it's been launched officially, but in terms of producing any reports, I would suspect that, maybe in the first 6 months, they might be producing data because, it's all there. But, let's see. It would be interesting to talk to them, right? And find out what their plans are.
And absolutely. And just before I let you go, Joanne, one final question. If you were yourself in the meeting room with the team from Met Éireann and UCD, what systems would you want to see in place?
Yeah, I would love visualizations of the data that they're getting so that the ordinary citizen, like the Joe public, would understand it, because we have a great interest in weather and a graph for weather. I think creating something tandem if the public's able to use on a day-to-day basis would be great.
Joanne Sweeney from the Digital Training Institute, thank you so much as always for joining me here for our Thursday digital download. You've just released a book, as I mentioned last week, so do you want to tell the listeners where they can connect with you and where they can purchase your book?
Oh, thank you, Michael. So yes, if you go to digitaltraining.ie, you'll find me, and the book is available at aimarketingplaybook.ie, or if you're an Amazon customer, you can get it there.